United States of America, and to the republic for which
it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, there we go.
Hello, everyone. Councilman Madden is not able to join us in person. He is on virtually, so I will be running the meeting this evening, running the agenda. I did want to mention that on February 10th, 2025, the board did meet in executive session to discuss operational matters relating to the security of the facility and public safety, and to discuss ongoing renovations to the physical plant of the prison that relate to the security of the facility and public safety. I did want to say good evening to our people virtually. I just want to make sure everyone can hear me and that you can be heard. Joanne, Councilman Madden?
Yes, I can hear you.
Controller Phillips?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Counter Judge Kroll?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sheriff Sanders?
Yes, I can hear you.
King?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any public comment on agenda items?
Kimberly Brown. Kimberly Brown Cowan. The first thing I would like to talk about on the agenda item is the minutes from last meeting. Last meeting, there was approval for the welfare fund to deposit $25 in the IP's trust fund. You have to understand when the inmates come into the prison, there's a $50 fee. And if they don't have any money to pay that fee, any money that be put on their books, their account, they are only given half. And if they owe the jail, they will not be able to receive that money. It goes back to the fees that's owed. Next thing, the full recreation was provided unless otherwise indicated. I need everyone on the board to pay attention to the dates, because last meeting it was blamed on the employees. When she give her report today, I need you guys to ask her how many housing units, how many blocks are on the unit. And you'll see the difference in the problems of where issues can happen, which should be incident from fights and stabbings in the jail. The Suboxone program, the MAT program, which she's going to show you, is very interesting on the numbers, because the MAT program is a car wash program. All it is they get in the program is the medication. They're not really getting the help. And that's if the inmates are taking the medication. I say that over and over. I would like to say thank you to Deputy Warden of Security for coming to the block, to the unit to see what I'm seeing, to make sure I'm not speaking on something that is made up. And I will be coming up at the end, because we're going to discuss this bonus referral. Just like Sheriff Sanders said, he didn't want an opportunist situation to happen. And we're going to break down how the situation happened. Joanne Phillips, we're going to explain tonight. Thank you.
No other public comment on agenda items. I will take a motion to approve the minutes from January 2025.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the reports from January 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, reports are approved. For my executive director report, I did want to note that a new Jail Oversight Board member has been appointed as of our last meeting, Florence McDonald. She is unable to attend this evening, but will attend future meetings, and will allow her to introduce herself. But very interested in and active in issues related to incarceration and supporting people at the Greater Ford facility and other great work, and I think will be a good member for our Jail Oversight Board. I did want to thank all the applicants for the positions that were open. We did also reappoint Mr. King and Deborah Love to the board, so thank you for serving another 3 terms and applying 3 years. And again, for all our applicants, thank you for applying. We did have a number of current and former correctional officers apply to be on the Jail Oversight Board. We do want to create an opportunity for more engagement with our correctional officers and the Jail Oversight Board, and that to be direct engagement. We have asked the warden and will be working with staff to create an opportunity for Jail Oversight Board members to meet with correctional facility workers on site at regular intervals throughout the year to hear directly of their experiences and ideas and concerns. So looking forward to having that engagement and direct feedback from staff to Jail Oversight Board members. With that, we'll have the warden's report.
Thank you very much. And we'll just wait for Sean to bring up the presentation. Thank you, Sean. All right. So we are beginning a new year in terms of statistics, though today is February 11th. We will be revisiting statistics from January of 2025. Our population this morning, and there is a typo on the first slide, it should actually be current population of today's date is 1,106 incarcerated persons, which is a decrease of 36 from last month's meeting. We had 17 individuals in the weekenders program. 15 of those were first timers. As you can see, the commitments and discharges, we're also recording the trends from the previous 2 years. So we are definitely down in terms of commitments over our last 2 years in comparison. In terms of recreation, you can see the dates in which those were not provided as full recreation. On the first 6th, that impacted the entire facility that did not have any recreation during first shift. They did have recreation on second shift on those dates. On the 7th, they had modified recreation, which means that we were able to bring out partial of the housing blocks. We could not have full recreation. And again, that impacted facility-wide for the first shift. If there were specific areas in which they were designated as no recreation or modified recreation, you can additionally see those. We had a significant impact to lighting on Unit 10 Bravo. So after 7 p.m. during that extended time period, we were not able to have recreation within the housing unit. Those lighting issues have since been resolved for that area. Major incidences, we had 4 different times in the month of January in which there was either precautionary measures that were taken due to evidence of injury or unwitnessed injuries that were sustained for the incarcerated population. 2 of those cases were referred to CID. 1 has been completely adopted by CID and remains under investigation. For our population, you can see on the left is our total population within the month of January. Again, predominantly male and pre-trial individuals within the population. We have not had any changes in our trends as it relates to age or race and ethnicity within the population. But as we've disclosed before, it is important that we continue to track and report on those numbers publicly. For our new commitment review in the month of January, we had 460 total commitments. 136 or nearly 30% of those were related to violation of probation or parole. Only 2 of the 136 were related to a state parole. You can see that the lead commitment charges, again, this is something that has been consistently trending each month. These are typically the charges that we see individuals come into incarceration. Notably, a lot of the violent crimes that are indicated have seen higher numbers than we did historically. And so we will certainly continue to track those throughout this calendar year. For behavioral health statistics, we've also seen an increase in individuals who are prescribed psychiatric medications. That is, however, consistent with the growing population of individuals who are diagnosed with any mental illness, also known as AMI, or serious mental illness, also referred to as SMI. So 67.45% and 35.26% respectively in those categories. In the entire month of January, we had 221 individual persons that were engaged in some form of MAT. Though as of today's date, 193 of our current population is engaged in some form of medication for opioid use disorder, representing 17.45% of the population. You can see that the majority of those are either maintained on buprenorphine, either an oral or an injectable form of buprenorphine, inducted to buprenorphine. Our minority population within this group subset is definitely methadone. Wanted to thank MVP, who has been able to extend services for methadone within the institution to reduce any lapse in their treatment continuation. For Employees of the Month, we have 3 that we have had nominated and selected and recognized. So congratulations to Officer Sacco, Records Tech, Bonaventure, and Sergeant Savadago. You can also see those with years of experience. And while we've got quite a list of individuals who have contributed years of experience throughout transitions on this list, there are 3 with over 20 years of experience. So we did want to highlight and congratulate Records Tech Beth Curry for 26 years, Correctional Officer Michael Bassetti for 34 years, and Major Albert Pleasant with 36 years at the institution. We have hosted another graduation, and an additional thank you to Jail Oversight Board member Judge Kroll for administering the oath to our correctional officers during the last graduation on January 24th, 2025. You can see Class 1224A pictured in the lower left quadrant of this slide. We began a class on February 3rd, and our next graduation is scheduled for this Friday, February 14th of 2025. We are additionally recruiting for our next class, which will begin on March 3rd of 2025. We wanted to celebrate and recognize a promotion within the institution. So internal candidate, former sergeant, has been transitioning and training as lieutenant. So congratulations to Lieutenant David Coleman in his promotion. And we also wanted to thank and acknowledge Chester County. So there's a lot of work between correctional agencies behind the scenes. We rely on partnerships for security transfers, resources, policy reviews, and support well above and beyond maybe what people really think in collaborating with our peers, especially within this region. Chester County had recently sponsored a training that is upcoming, and they allowed not just our agency, but Berks, Bucks, and Montgomery County to be able to participate in this supervisory development training. We did put a posting out and accepted applications from our correctional supervisors. The curriculum is specifically geared towards correctional supervisors within the security classification. We're very hopeful we may have some additional trainings that we'll be able to extend to our non-security employees in the future. But 3 of our supervisors will be representing George W. Hill on February 19th for a full day training in the Pointman Institute. And that is going to be Lieutenant Moody, Sergeant Tarwilly, and Sergeant Williams. This is at no additional cost or charge to Delaware County. We are completely sponsored by Chester County for this training opportunity. They've also recently extended some surplus equipment to our agency. While we have an enormous amount of capital improvement projects that are being done, none of those are instantaneous, and we continue to need to resolve issues at the facility, many which are very costly. We were able to acquire to yesterday. So some of our employees went to Chester County to get those surplus materials for utilization within our control system, again, at no charge. This was something Chester County had in surplus, and they wanted to make sure that those opportunities were extended to their neighbors so that we can promote safety within our institution as we're undergoing all of these projects. Speaking of, we are continuing to advance capital improvement and investment in the institution. We are still anticipating a start date for our HVAC installation project, which is approximately 15 to 17 months. That is dependent on weather as well as permits. We are still awaiting the approval of our mechanical permit. We've been checking as early or as late as today, right before this meeting, and we still have not received confirmation of those permits being approved. But if they are, we are set and ready to go with our partners with WTI, Tremco, and Elliott Lewis beginning on Monday, the 17th. We are also in the permit application process for the electronic security and surveillance project. We have been participating in an abundance of meetings, as well as phone calls and email exchanges to continue to prepare for the abundance of work that will be conducted. Delaware County Council had approved the awarding of the contract in the last calendar month, and we confirmed BSI, our superintendent. So Charlie Capello has been with us since Monday, February 3rd, and he is going to be really overseeing the day-to-day on-site construction work in tandem with our team, of course, but helping to keep that on time and on budget. Our preliminary timeline to start the project is May of 2025 with an anticipated completion of August of 2027. And so we still do have quite a bit of preparation to do to make sure that these phasing projects overlap in a way that is not disruptive to operations, ensures the health and safety of our incarcerated population as well as our staff, and that we can move through this as seamlessly as possible. So we will be ramping up and be briefing the Jail Oversight Board every month on progress until project completion. We are still very hopeful that we will be able to apply for additional capital investment funds with our kitchen renovation project that does need to be completed throughout the next couple of years. So that will be upcoming. And then the cost recovery items. So we are enacting this calendar month the $25 to the incarcerated individuals from the Inmate Welfare Fund. We will start to see that impacted in the future months, and we will find a way to track how much money has been deposited to accounts and make sure that we're reporting that on this slide. Before I pass this over to Deputy Warden Fally, are there any questions for me from the board that I can answer? All right, I'll be here if you need me. Thank you.
Thank you, Warden. Good evening, Jail Fest Board, people online, Executive Director O'Malley. This is, well, last month I talked about the program review of 2024, the program. So this month, I'm going to talk about the 2025 program goals for the department. One of our main goals for 2025 is to enhance our capacity building. The second one will be to conduct quality assurance and efficiency. The third goal will be to enhance current program. And the fourth goal is to conduct community outreach and engagement. In regards to capacity building, one of the things that we are going to focus on is reduce our attrition. As you guys were aware, last year we faced a lot of attrition, and this year with the changes that happened with the budget, hopefully we'll be able to retain some staff. We want to enhance our onboarding process with training for non-security personnel. So working closely with our training department to do that. We also want to identify staff to train the trainer on specialized topics, continue trainings on evidence-based practices such as ethics, thinking for a change, or motivation interviewing, which we're going to conduct our second cohort sometime in 2025. We want to create a a presentation for all the new employee orientation, utilizing our college interns. We have a lot of local colleges with the criminal justice program and social work program. We want to identify professional development for non-security staff as well. In regards to quality insurance, we are entering on our 3rd year as an agency. I think it's important to really focus on our program efficiency. So one of the things that we want to maximize our offender management system and do things electronically. We want to increase our sustainability. We also want to have a completion of the standard operation procedure for our case management. I know we started working on it 2 years ago, and hopefully we'll be able to finish it by the end of this year. And also we want to assess our program from A to Z for its efficiency. In regard to enhancing our program, Ms. Shaw will be talking later on today about our implementation for New Leash on Life. Hopefully sometime we will also want to implement our branch out program for our horticulture society. We want to implement any gender-focused parenting program. We want to also enhance our partnership with county government with special need offenders. As well as we want to conduct a community-based event, and we have a tentative schedule career fair based for the spring of 2025. And last but not least, we also want to focus on services for our juvenile population. And we're in conversation with the Juvenile Detention Rehabilitation Services. Hopefully we'll be able to provide some sort of services for our juvenile. Last but not least, our community engagement and outreach. One of the things we want to do is community advisory board with the new SUD grant, do some type of CAP program. So meaning that once we have the team hired, that all the county official and the return just involved individual will be able to get together quarterly to talk about criminal justice issue and reentry. We want to continue partnership with and identify new center of excellence for a continuum of care, and also we want to pursue funding for to enhance opportunity. I think that's stuff, Sean. Okay. As far as the monthly highlight for January, we started the month pretty strong. Our GED passing rate is 52%. I would like to congratulate Academy instructor Colin Gilmartin for educating 100 IP and with their GED since she started on May 2021. 100 IP received their GED thanks to Ms. Gilmartin. Also want to congratulate Ms. Skruski, who celebrated her 16 years service at George Shelby Hill. I want to welcome 2 new employees in our department, Brittany Basoli and Dominique Barron, who is our new mental health coordinator. The new volunteer survey organization orientations starts on March 26th, which I believe is a Wednesday. And we're going to talk about Ramadan later on today with Chaplain and a new lead. Ms. Shaw will talk more about it later on. Any questions from the board before Program Administrator Ms. Shaw comes and talk about program? And last but not least, I'm sorry, we are hiring. We are looking for 4 case manager, 1 substitute counselor, 1 program coordinator, 1 discharge planner, a central file record, and a wellness instructor. So please visit our website. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board and the public. Thank you for the opportunity to share reentry updates. I am very excited to announce that on Monday, January 27th, we launched the New Leash on Life reentry program. New Leash on Life rescues at-risk dogs and works with justice-involved individuals to create fresh starts, leveraging the powerful bond between humans and dogs. How the program will run at George W. Hill. For the first 12 weeks of the program, dogs are brought into the facility from a shelter to live with, be cared for, and trained by the participants. Participants take workshops in life skills, career readiness, basic animal care, and dog training. Currently, the female participants are taking classes, and next Tuesday, the dogs will arrive at the facility where they will live for the next 12 weeks. Each participant will be responsible for one dog. In our pilot cohort, we have 6 participants and 3 dogs. Upon graduation of the cohort, in 12 weeks, the 6 participants will be released on early parole and will then complete a 12-week paid internship while receiving individualized case management to assist in reentry needs. And also at graduation, the participants will hand off their dogs to the dog's new adopted family. The animal-assisted therapy model creates a strong human-animal bond that increases empathy and provides motivation and self-change as they experience heightened self-efficacy, coping abilities, self-esteem, and social confidence following interaction with the animals. In addition to the animal care, career readiness, and life skill workshops, the participants will be set up for success for their 12-week internship. And in the photo, we have the 6 women participants, 2 of the trainers, and also a demo dog. Her name is Macy, and she came in over the weekend to assess how the women work with the dog. And with that assessment, the animal trainer will select the 3 dogs to work specifically with the women, highlighting their skill set.
Hello, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the people on hybrid can't hear anything right now. And if it were just me, I wouldn't stop the meeting, but there's several of us.
That issue. Thanks.
Here we
Oh.
go. I think volume's back.
Thanks, Sean. The goal of the First Step program is to gain and retain employment post-release. To date, 85 participants successfully completed the program. 25 participants gained employment or completed training. Training such as CDL, carpentry apprenticeship, and forklift schooling. The program has an 8% recidivism rate, though it's important to note that some participants have been released for 2 years, while others in only a few weeks, and still not all the participants have been released into the community. The Delco Reentry Program is administered through the Public Health Management Corporation. PHMC's peer specialist and recovery case manager meet bi-monthly with clients to develop an individualized reentry plan. PHMC continues service 60 days post-release. The service is available to Delaware County residents. Last month, we had 3 new enrollments. PHMC service expanded and is currently available to Delaware County residents serving a probation. Other reentry updates: the Delaware County Veterans Department met with 5 incarcerated vets to provide reentry support. Thresholds decision-making course had 12 participants. Our in-house reentry case manager, Jess Delvischio, met with 17 sentenced individuals to assist with reentry needs. On-site probation and parole social service liaisons set up 69 releases to inpatient treatment for the month. Maternity Care Coalition met with 1 client. Child, Family, and Focus met with the juvenile population to facilitate the Boys Council program. And lastly, 891 electronic courses were completed on the tablet. Thank you. Can I answer any questions? And now I welcome Chaplain Dunn to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Coquelia Dunn. I am the chaplain at George W. Hill Correctional Facility, and I've been there since 2010. Before we transitioned into the county, I was also the volunteer coordinator at the same time. And this year, because we have expanded the department, we've now included a volunteer coordinator in the person of Mr. Perry Matero, who's an extremely competent volunteer coordinator, and I am so glad that he is with me as we do this job. I was ordained in 1989 by the Ecclesiastical Authority of the Keystone Baptist Association. I've served as pastor in the local Delaware County community. I'm also a member of the Pennsylvania Prison Chaplains Association and currently serve on the executive board representing the Eastern region. I was also the regional manager for the American Chaplains Association, which is connected to the ACA, until the time of the pandemic in 2019. I've been involved in community as not only a volunteer in prison ministry, but also as outreach and inviting people to come in and be volunteers at George W. Hill. As the chaplain, I'm responsible for the spiritual guidance and education to the incarcerated persons population and also to the staff. Thank you so much. As you can tell, this is my first time presenting to you. As part of that responsibility, I look around and see where the need is for what religious programs need to be presented and what it is that I have in my arsenal of people that I know in the community to help in those areas. The chaplain conducts death notices for the incarcerated persons as well as family emergencies. This is one of the most important things, I believe, as chaplain, to be able to help someone through these times and these situations where they find themselves not able to maybe do what they would normally do on the outside when a loved one dies or when they run into a family emergency. I arranged Zoom services for those who've had death in family and are unable to go and view their loved one And that Zoom service takes place in my office. They're allowed to view via Zoom coming from the funeral home Zoom account. And they can spend time viewing that at the time. I also arrange for the family members to notify the incarcerated persons when they've had death in family. I think it's important for those who have death in family that it comes from a family member rather than someone who does not personally know them. I also connect with the faith-based organizations for clergy visit. Part of the opportunity that I have as being part of the PPCA and being a member of the ACCA is that I get a chance to meet clergy persons from across all faiths and across the state, and in some cases, across the Northeast corridor. So when there is a need, for instance, we've had 2 Jewish, Orthodox Jewish members, IPs, in our facility. And because I am familiar with the Aleph Institute and the executive director of the Aleph Institute belongs to PPCA, I was able to get Orthodox rabbis to come in and share with both of them during, on a continuous basis for clergy visits. Access to faith-based organizations and resources in Pennsylvania and other states as an executive member of the Prison Chaplains Association, which allows me to do that. I'm also responsible for religious diets as well as vegetarian diets. When someone comes in and they have a religious specific diet that is required, they send an request to me and I respond to them to enable them to get whatever religious diet that they need to have. I manage the coordination of volunteers, both faith-based and community-based volunteers, as well as AA and NA. And as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Perry Matero is our volunteer coordinator. And I've also, in one of the other slides, I've included his email address. His responsibility is to help our volunteers access the classrooms and allow the incarcerated persons to come out and be a part of those programs. Seventy-one 71% of our population participates in religious services in 2024 and in 10 in-person religious services. Our facility is supported by 16 religious volunteer organizations representing, in this case, Catholic and Protestant. We do not have an imam from the outside at this time. We're still looking for a volunteer imam who will come and support our Muslim community. Right now, one of our incarcerated persons supports the Juma for the Muslim community. For the Khutbah, which is their services on Friday afternoon, he comes in and allows that to take place for the general population. Each block is allowed to worship in their own manner on this day. We had 174 incarcerated persons participating in Ramadan last year. Grief counseling was offered to 31 incarcerated persons for death notifications. During the death notifications, as I shared earlier, I try very hard to see if it's not possible for them to view the funeral over Zoom, and I provide my office in order for them to do that. The religious process. At George W. provides incarcerated persons the opportunity to practice and observe their rituals and services consistent with their religious faith. IPs can request information via the tablet or paper to myself to participate their religious faith, and the chaplaincy will provide them with the information that is required. If what we have within George W. and they need to speak to someone in their particular religion, it is my job to find someone in that particular faith to share with them at that time. All the incarcerated person needs to do is to submit a request to me, and I will respond by researching, or if they have someone that they know that can service, provide that particular help to them, they can let me know and I will make the contact and set that up for a clergy visit. Incarcerated persons have access to religious publications of their respective faith. However, all religious materials are subject to review before entering the facility, and all of our religious materials are donated. So if the items are not donated, then I am unable to provide them. All books and publications retained by incarcerated persons must comply with the facility rules and regulations regarding personal property. (2025) Ramadan. Last year, as I stated, we had 175 registered so far. This year is 208 that we have registered to participate in Ramadan this year. Out of all of those, and during Ramadan, we do medical clearances to make sure that they're medically able to fast the length of time that they do without water. We've only had 3 that have been removed from participating in the fast, but they will be included in the Eid feast at the end of the fast. Notifications regarding the preparations and observation of Ramadan were made to the incarcerated persons by a tablet, and copies that were posted on each housing unit. There are hard copies that have been placed on the pods on each housing unit, and I've made it a purpose to go to the intake area, classification area, I should say, on 8 Alpha to make sure all the new commits are getting the information in time to be able to participate. Ramadan this year begins February 28th and ends March the 29th tentatively. In order to participate in Ramadan, each current incarcerated person had to submit an incarcerated person's request for information by Monday, January the 27th. The newly committed incarcerated persons do have the opportunity to participate as well, only after being medically cleared by a health provider while their initial classification housing phase is taking place. So we're in the process of doing that now. I have a list that I have submitted today, or will submit tomorrow morning, of some additional incarcerated persons, newly committed, that will be submitted to medical for clearance. Are there any questions from the board?
I don't have a question, but Chaplain, I just wanted to say, you know, we don't get a chance to publicly recognize your work regularly, but like everyone who works at George W. Hill and everyone who works in corrections, you obviously work day to day in a very challenging environment. And for you, you're regularly working in situations where folks who you're interacting with are facing, you know, a terrible situation. And so I just want to thank you for your contributions and bringing compassion to what could turn into mundane, given the fact that it's, you know, it's a daily occurrence for you, but obviously is significant for the people who you're talking to. So thank you for everything you've done for Delaware County.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure for me. This is what I do.
Thank you very much. Okay, is there any new business?
I have just a point of new business for the board. I had circulated to Jail Oversight Board copies of the audits done for the year of 2023, which were the Inmate Welfare Fund audit and the Inmate Trust Fund audit. The Inmate Welfare Fund audit was completed in with the date of 12/12/24. The Inmate Trust Fund audit the work was completed in 2024, but was recently dated on 2/3/25. They were circulated. The bottom line is both audits came out with opinions that there's a fair representation in all material respects of the financial status of those funds. I believe there's very good background and narration for members of the board to understand in detail the source of funds, how they're distributed, how they flow through the system. There are, just for the inmate trust fund, there are actually thousands of transactions that have to be dealt with. And just another highlight in the inmate welfare fund, from the board's input in the past, it's in an interest-bearing account and saw over $100,000 of interest going to that. And as the board well knows, we're looking at ways to spend that. So those audits will be posted for the public. And I think the main recommendation from that is that the jail, which is it's a challenge to just keep up with the day-to-day reconciliation of funds that are transferring in and out of the jail, with limited staff that can be dedicated to that. So we made some recommendations in that from the independent auditor of my office, and welcome to work with the jail financial people on any assistance they might want to have for that. And we do appreciate the cooperation. The auditors were on site for several days and weeks actually to go through everything, and it was very complete. So at any rate, they will be posted, and if anyone has any specific questions, I would be happy to put the auditors in touch with any members of the board as well.
Thank you. Any other new business? Okay. General public comment.
First, I want to say it amazes me on November of last year, I was put on an investigation for speaking about the cameras on Unit 10 was bad. Meanwhile, you have Laura K. Williams today stated that the power was out. No, not only did she say the unit, she said the block as well. Laura, you don't play fair at all. And it's not fair how she can put somebody under investigation for saying something about the cameras in the unit. That's not fair at all. Playing with dogs is not reentry. Meanwhile, there's a dire need of canines. First stop on my unit that I work on. Need canine dogs. There's too many drugs floating. Joanne Phillips, you were so bright and excited. Oh yeah, by the way, congratulations. I heard you running for council seat to protect the warden. I see that. But meanwhile, you made a statement about the audit for the inmate fund and that you were going to post it. You need to post the payroll spending, the easy spending for this capital improvement and other things that's being spent, especially that payroll. Let's start with the employee referral bonus program. I'll be doing the right to know on all the referral names since there was a program. Sheriff Sanders, remember you didn't want an opportunist. You said you wanted to review the program in 6 months. What happened? I know Judge Brennan was against it. And I know she's laughing now because she was right. Sheriff Sanders, during the program, it stated that no hiring managers, no HR, no contracts could be involved in a program. You had Lisa, Deputy Warden of Operations. She runs the bookkeeping. She does the payroll. She paid herself $5,000, not once, not twice. She paid the compliance officer $5,000. Certain officers got the referral, certain case managers, it was like a pick and choose. Joanne Phillips, please prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. You get upset, you have lunch with the warden. We know you're on our side. Just play fair and post the audit. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
If I may, Sheriff, we all serving here collectively to make for a more efficient George Hill Correctional Facility. We want to hear from everyone. That's why we have public comment. And the ability to make public comment is not to be taken, should not be taken advantage of to take cheap shots at anyone that sits on this board. It's pretty presumptuous to know why our present controller chooses to run for another public office unless she confided in you personally. How would you know that? So I want to hear what you have to say. I'm speaking to the young lady that just spoke. I want to hear what you have to say, but you lose credibility when you take advantage of the platform to take cheap shots at whoever sits on the board. So I appreciate hearing what you have to offer constructively without taking the cheap shots that I've just heard. Thank you.
I'd like to say, I know that we don't need to respond to public comment, but I just want to make it clear for people, no department pays themselves their salary. It runs through a payroll department. Payroll is audited. So that's just mistaken. People don't understand how things work. So I just think that needs to be clear.
Just briefly, a comment on the New Leash on Life program. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because we had a presentation on it a few weeks ago. My understanding of that program is it's not a new program. It's been run successfully in Philadelphia County now for some time. They have a very good rate of success in the program. And I'm frankly excited to see a new program, and I'm especially excited because this is a program that is right now focused on our female population, which don't seem to have the same number of opportunities as the male population. So I am excited to see how this kind of works its way through the pilot. Hopefully, we can expand the program in the future if it's successful.
Any other final board comments? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.